The following is an exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the National Football League.
Are you guys feeling any amount of pressure?
No pressure, but a lot of hunger. Like a lot of hunger to be great.
This is the energy right here. This is the approach every day. Every day is a championship day.
And that's going to be our DNA, to where when people drive up to Bank of America Stadium, they know they're in for a dogfight.
I don't care about what we can't do. What can we do? Who are these players that we have, and how are we going to maximize those strengths on a daily basis?
We want players with grit. We want players like Steve Smith.
Makes the grab, touchdown!
I'm going to bet on us. I love a great challenge.
And that's our goal, is to roll up our sleeves and find those type of players that are going to help us get back to home playoff games and winning.
Hello and welcome inside this special end of season edition of the Panthers Huddle. I'm Carla Gebhart, and the Carolina Panthers head into the offseason eager to put the 2023 season behind them, and they began the process of turning things around with new leaders in the front office and on the sideline. Last week, the Panthers announced Dan Morgan would get the promotion of President of Football Operations / GM after previously serving as the Assistant GM. Some of you may remember Morgan as a Panthers middle linebacker who helped earn a trip to the Super Bowl 20 years ago. After his playing days ended, Morgan worked in the front offices for both the Seattle Seahawks and the Buffalo Bills before coming back to Charlotte.
It's a great honor to be named the GM of the Carolina Panthers after playing here 7 years. Mike Tolbert's here, Thomas Davis, Jonathan Stewart, all these guys here, Musin Muhammad. Like, you guys are the best, man. Like, you guys are family, and we're going to make it a family environment. And that's the kind of environment that me and Dave want to create around here. So
it was in Seattle where Morgan first got the chance to work with new Panthers head coach Dave Canales.
Super excited to work with Dave. Me and Dave have known each other for many years now. And
7 years.
Yeah, and this is a dream come true for both of us.
Canales had been an assistant for the now retired coach Pete Carroll since his days at USC and followed him to Seattle until this past season when he became the Bucs offensive coordinator. Wherever he's been, Canales has a track record of elevating the QBs he's worked with.
Most recently, Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, these guys that I got to just spend so much life with, to learn, to watch them grow as men, to watch them grow as football players. It's their fault that I'm here.
Obviously, the Panthers are hoping Canales can help guide Bryce Young to success in the same way.
We are going to become what Bryce is great at in the pass game. We're going to grow to the capacity that he can handle. There's got to be a commitment and a discipline about that. I want him to be the best possible version of himself. That's the same approach that I've taken since I've been coaching positions in the NFL.
The 42-year-old was hired shortly after his second interview last week. This will be his first chance to lead an NFL team as a head coach. Dave and Dan hit the ground running in their new roles at this week's Senior Bowl before rounding out the staff by hiring some of Coach Canales' old colleagues. Harold Goodwin will be the assistant head coach and run game coordinator, the same position he held with the Bucs. The team also agreed to terms with running backs coach Bernie Parmalee, wide receivers coach Rob Moore, and offensive line coach Joe Gilbert. Brant Tillis coming over from the Chiefs front office to take over as Morgan's right-hand man. Morgan and Canales together again, looking to revamp the Panthers and revive that keep-pounding spirit in the Carolinas. Coming up, get to know Dave Canales, an exclusive interview with the new Carolina Panthers head coach after the break. But first, a special message from our own Kristen Balon.
Hey Panthers family, it's Kristen Balon, team reporter, and I know there have been a lot of questions about where I was all season. I was not here with the team. I was on medical leave. I had some health issues that I needed to take care of and recover from, but I am so thrilled to be back at Bank of America Stadium with all of my amazing coworkers and this team. So you will be seeing me more. Now, maybe not as much as before. I am still gonna take some time, take a step back, spend time with my family, focus on my health, but we've got a lot of good stuff coming that I'm gonna be a part of, interviews, fun content, the works. It's gonna be great. So I just want to say a quick thank you to this organization who has really supported me throughout this time. And I get to say the two words that mean so much to this team and mean more to me now than ever. Keep pounding. I'll see you all very soon. Kristen Balon here with Panthers head coach Dave Canales. Has that title sunk in for you yet? Are you used to hearing it?
Oh, I mean, 2004, I'm the head JV coach at Carson High School, so I've been chasing that title back for a while now, but no, absolutely not. Yeah. It has not settled in. It is just seeing the office the first time today was really exciting, and it's starting to sink in a little bit more, just the weight of it, and anticipating I'm going to have a lot of good help.
So as you think about this team and how you want to put your mark on it, what do you want a Dave Canales team to be, to embody?
For me, it starts off with an environment, and I think it's really important that all of us create an environment where our players have all of the resources at their disposal. And it truly starts there. This is of utmost importance as we assemble a staff, offensively, defensively, special teams, and all the support staff that comes with it, that we have the understanding that it's all of us focused on each individual athlete, each individual player, and how to maximize their ability. Because what I want them to be able to come in here and do is just let it rip. I want them to just be able to show who they are, to stand for our principles. We're gonna be crazy about the ball. It's our philosophy of our football, is it's all about the ball. And what that means is defense, go take it away. Offense, let's take care of it. And if we do that, the statistics say we're going to win a lot of games. Yeah. I saw it happen firsthand in Seattle. So, and beyond that, just the aggressive nature, the fast play, we'll put them in difficult situations and practices so that we can become a really smart football team. And all of those things happen in practice. Practice is everything. Practice is where we become us. It's where we make us. We challenge each other, we grow together. And in the meantime, if it's not fun, then what are we doing? So that's really the last part of it.
I like to hear that. I like to hear that. Let's talk about the hiring process for you. Why was this the right fit?
There's a lot of things that went into it. I think as I met Mr. and Mrs. Tepper, and I could feel the passion and energy and the competitive nature that they have. There was just a kindred there in the interview, and I was hoping at the time, which I didn't know, I was hoping I hope they could feel that, I'm on board with this, this is familiar to me, and I feel like I can really bring this to this place. Bryce is a huge piece of it. My respect for him, really we're just a year removed from doing the evaluation process coming out of Alabama. Now he's got a full season, 16 out of 17 games under his belt of NFL experience. That's irreplaceable. The coverages he had to see, decisions he had to make, the speed of play. It's like I got this bonus year to come in here and kind of build off of that, and then of course just crazy good defense that I had to see twice last year, and they made it really hard on us. So a lot of exciting things. I can't talk about this job without talking about Dan Morgan. 7 years together in Seattle. We actually were a door away from each other for I think about 2 or 3 of those years before I got moved to wide receivers coach. But to just watch a guy who is so steadfast in his core beliefs, his evaluation, you see remnants of who he was as a player, just this really intelligent, really fierce competitor. And so for me, it's a real, just an honor and a pleasure to be thinking about. I get to do it with Dan, and the 1-2 punch we can be to put a great team on the field and to build a championship environment.
You mentioned Bryce. Of course, I was going to ask you about him. So it sounds like that was a big reason that you took this job here. You watched his film, clearly impressed. What do you think he can become with this team?
Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit for him. I think the important part to understand is for Bryce to just see, just do your 111 on the offensive side. That's it. He's been a winner in high school. He won at Alabama. And when we build the team the right way, he'll be a winner here because he knows how to do that. And he's got the right makeup to handle those high pressure situations. We watched him for years, do it. So I'm really excited about the next step for him.
Speaking of quarterbacks, you are famous for getting the best out of quarterbacks. What's the secret, aside from what you just told us? How do you do it?
Starts with relationship and trust. Starts with hearing their story and them hearing mine. I think when we can level there and they understand that I'm there for them, I was able to do that as a position coach, and then last year, first time as a coordinator, to become whatever pass game fit Baker Mayfield, to become what fit Geno Smith. It really started with Russell, becoming what fits Russell Wilson and then representing that for the staff. We had a couple of coordinators come in there, and I would step in and say, okay, these are the things that Russell's great at. And then kind of build it around those things. So I'm excited to do that with Bryce.
It's something else you also really succeeded at in Tampa was calling plays, and the understanding is that's something that you'll be taking on here as well. Okay, I was gonna say correct me if I'm wrong there. Who are you as a play caller?
Yeah, there's a contrast. There's a big difference between the guy you're gonna see at practice. I'm gonna be sprinting around. I'm on the verge of a hamstring pull at all times, and trying to bring that to every group, trying to bring that in a competitive way against the guys we're going against. But then as a play caller, what I discovered is kind of very even-keeled, very monotone on the speakers, you know, and let's get some jazz music going, and just kind of like, regardless of the situation, it's like, what's the next call? And so I have to flip my brain a little bit there. And of course, the ultimate, like when we have those big plays or touchdowns, that's when the celebration happens, you know, but not until then. So a little bit of a contrast there, you know. And again, I'm still scratching the surface on what I can do as a play caller.
Well, Dave, congratulations to you, Lizzie, your whole family. We're thrilled to have you here, and welcome to Charlotte.
Thank you.
From Panthers legend to leading the Panthers front office. After the break, Anish Shroff sits down with Dan Morgan to discuss his vision for the Panthers moving forward.
This exclusive presentation of the Carolina Panthers Television Network is brought to you in part by Bank of America, official bank of the Carolina Panthers.
Anish Shroff here with Panthers' new GM, recently promoted, Dan Morgan. And Dan, I want to go back to the beginning of your journey starting as a player, because you as a player know what this past season was like. Describe your rookie season with Carolina.
Yeah, it was challenging. Not only being a rookie and, you know, first time in the NFL, feeling the NFL out, and to come in and win your first game and think you may actually have a good football team, and then to lose 15 straight was really challenging. You know, and I told our guys this year, I said, hey, like, I've been through this. It can turn around quickly, because we were 1-15 in 2001, and in 2003 we were in a Super Bowl. So this thing can turn around quick. We just got to do it the right way.
In terms of perspective, you know, that experience, what perspective does that give you?
You know, I think it's one of those things where, you know, tough times don't last, tough people do. That saying, I think, you know, when you go through those tough times, you know, you really find out a lot about yourself, and you go through adversity, and it makes you stronger in the long run. And, you know, I think that relates a lot to our team now, to where I think, you know, they went through a tough time last year, but they don't want to go through that again. So I think everybody's ready to work and is committed to turning this around.
Fast forward to the end of your career. How does eye black, neck roll Dan Morgan make the transition to what you are now? What was that process like when your playing career ended?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I didn't know that I wanted to do this when I got done playing. I had an opportunity from an ex-scout for the Panthers who was in Seattle at the time, and he said, hey, I always thought you'd be a really good scout. You know, you had a good eye for talent, and I love talking to you. I didn't know that I wanted to do this. And a matter of fact, I wasn't even going to get on the plane to go do the internship that I did, but decided to go out there, and I loved it. And 14 years later, you know, I'm sitting here and the GM of the Carolina Panthers.
What did you like about scouting initially?
You know, initially, I think it's really just putting a team together, you know, identifying talent, putting a bunch of different personalities together. You know, it's a cool thing. You know, you got a lot of different guys from a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different areas, and to, you know, bring those guys together and bring that team together and kind of like put the pieces of the puzzle together and, you know, see that vision through. I think that's the coolest part.
When you initially got to Seattle, give us your first impression of their wide receivers coach.
He was pretty energetic. he's always had a lot of energy, really smart. He had a really tough receiving room to deal with. You know, he had a lot of competitors, scrappy competitors. Doug Baldwin, Golden Tate was there, Jermaine Kearse. So we had a lot of guys, you know, that had a little bit of edge, and Dave did such a good job with those guys. He's such a technician. He's smart with like every little detail. I'm happy he's here now, let's put it that way.
Yeah, Dave Canales was the Seattle wide receivers coach, now the Panthers head coach, and we'll get back to that. But you know, at that point, you're both early in your coaching careers, you as a scout in the front office, he as a coach. What sort of relationship developed?
Yeah, so ironically enough, our offices were right next to each other. So who would have thought, you know, 14 years later that me and him would be here together. So we kind of grew up together. We were interns together. We kind of went up the ranks together. So, you know, for that to happen, I could always tell he was going to be good. And I think he would probably say the same about me. We worked our butts off. We were at the office early in the morning till late at night, and we love doing what we do. So I'm just happy that I'm here with him now.
You guys were in Seattle at the height of that franchise's success. When you look back from a front office standpoint, what were some of the elements that made it so successful?
You know, I think it really has to do with everybody on the same page, everybody's aligned in the building, everybody communicates really well, and the vision's really clear. Pete Carroll did such a good job of casting a vision of what he wanted, not only from a culture standpoint, but from a player standpoint. Hey, these are the type of body types we want. These are the type of character guys we want. We want guys with grit. We want guys that are tough, and everybody knew what we wanted. So from a scouting standpoint, it was easy to go out and evaluate that talent and be like, okay, this guy fits what a Seattle Seahawk wants. And, you know, that's something that we're going to carry here.
Let's fast forward present day, Carolina Panthers. For the doubters, for the skeptics who say, hey, coming off a 2-15 season, it would have been easy to go get somebody and put fresh eyes on this thing. What's your message to that chorus?
You know, I think it's one of those things where, listen, as a player, you know, I feel like I went out there, I gave it my all, played at a high level. I worked my way up the scouting ranks and, you know, put the work in. And I learned under a bunch of good people, John Schneider out in Seattle, Joe Shane, who's the Giants GM now, Brandon Beane, who's the Bills GM. I learned under a lot of really good people, so I think I'm well equipped to, you know, take this team to the next level.
Couple more things, Dan. You spoke of alignment.
Mm-hmm.
In this role now, what does alignment in this organization look like?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, really between the front office, between the other side of the building, which the corporate side, and then the players. Just all of us being aligned, knowing where we are, knowing what the vision is, and kind of seeing that vision through.
What is the vision, the mission statement, the core goal, if you will?
Yeah, I think it's really about, you know, Dave will say it all the time, like, we got to protect the ball. We got to take the ball away, and we got to protect the ball on offense. And I know that's Dave's big philosophy is really it's all about the ball. So right now that's kind of what we're looking for from the draft and free agency perspective.
Oh, we're excited.
Yeah.
Dan Morgan,
Thanks,
you.
man.
First and foremost, we signed a contract to help the Panthers win. That's why we're here. There's no other like feel-good stories or agendas, man. This is about helping the Panthers win.
Closed captioning for the Panthers Television Network is provided by Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates, helping you enjoy the sights and sounds of the NFL all season long.
Dude, I love everything that you said, everything you're standing for. We in your corner, I'm in your corner, whatever it is that you need.
Just love these men.
Yeah.
Love these men.
Yeah.
Bring out the best in them.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
The new era of Panthers football through the eyes of Panthers Legends. Head over to our YouTube page and check out our Legends Roundtable. Jonathan Stewart, Muhsin Muhammad, Mike Rucker, and Luke Kuechly talk about Dan, Dave, and what's in store for the franchise.
And if you can get guys that are playing with that type of mentality, where it's like, yeah, this is a game, but it's a game to you. This is not just a game to me.
Yeah, that element, I tell you, it exists on all the special teams. You know, all of the teams that are special, I should say. And that culture really started back in 95 and 96 with Dom Capers. I mean, you know, Ruck, you were part of, I didn't get a chance to play with Luke, but I can tell that when Luke was here with Thomas, that they had that special type of, you know, environment and culture. You talk about culture. And when I walked in this locker room in 1996, we went to an NFC championship, and I was a rookie. I thought that it would always be that way. But I played on the team. We had Lamar Lathan and Kevin Green and Sam Mills, Carlton Bailey, and you know, all these different guys that were veterans from other teams and winning organizations like the Buffalo Bills and things like that. And they came here and they started this brotherhood. They started this culture, and the bar was set so high. It was like, okay, so that's the expectation, right? And then it passed itself along to the next generations of great players like, you know, like Luke Kuechly and like you, Stewie. The takeaway for me is when you lose that it factor and that culture that really drives a team, right? It's the X factor that goes beyond the X's and O's. You got to get it back. You got to get it back, and there's no better way to get it back than put somebody in charge who understands, right, what it's supposed to look like. And I think to Luke's point here, right, having continuity where there's not, you know, a disconnect between who's buying the groceries, the players, and who's cooking it, Dave Canales and his staff, right? There's not a disconnect between them two. Everybody is like, oh yeah, let's buy these groceries right here, let's cook this meal right here, and let's roll, right? So and I don't know if we've ever been in lockstep with GM, head coach, like, you know, at the level that it's at right now. So, you know, kudos to Tep and the team here for recognizing that, you know what, we need a restart.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you here on the Panthers Huddle. So for Kristen, Anish, and the rest of the Huddle crew, thanks for watching. We'll see you again later this spring for OTAs. Until then, keep pounding.
You've been watching the Panthers Huddle, a copyrighted presentation of the Carolina Panthers and the NFL.